He was a World Cup winner at 19 and was seen as this generation's GOAT contender after Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. He's gone from being the most powerful man at PSG to finally getting his dream move to Real Madrid.
Uno, dos, tres, a la Madrid!
But for Kylian Mbappé, that dream move could be turning into a nightmare, with him unable to find the same fearsome form he had at PSG. So, just what has happened to Kylian Mbappé since moving to Real Madrid? First, let's look back to his journey to the Bernabeu.
Oh, fantastic! Well, this is why so many say he's going to become the best player in the world.
Mbappé grew up in a sporting family. His Algerian mother was a handball player, whilst his Cameroonian father was a football coach. It was clear that a kid who had posters of Cristiano Ronaldo on his bedroom wall was going to fall in love with football. And his favourite club growing up? Yep, Real Madrid. After spending his early years in the AS Bondy youth team, Mbappé was signed by Monaco's academy when he was 14 years old. Ironically, Monaco actually beat Real Madrid to his signature. Just 2 years later, Mbappé made his debut in the Monaco first team, appearing in a 1-1 draw with Cannes in December 2015. He became the youngest player in Monaco's history to play in the first team, beating a previous record set by Thierry Henry. Then in February 2016, he scored his first ever goal for Monaco against Troyes. By the time the 2016-17 season rolled around, Mbappé was now a regular first-team player, and he backed that up with his breathtaking performances. The kid was just insanely quick, skillful, and with great technique and deadly finishing. Often playing on the inside left channel as a number 9, his style and threat on the counter really mirrored Thierry Henry. He finished that season scoring 26 goals in all competitions, helping Monaco to the Ligue 1 title. With PSG the big spending dominant force in French football, it was no surprise that the club based in Mbappe's city of birth would come calling. He signed for PSG on loan with an obligation to buy and a fee of 180 million euros. That made him the second most expensive player ever, after Neymar. Mbappé quickly became the main man at PSG. From 2017 until his departure in the summer of 2024, he played 308 games and scored 256 goals. He won 6 league titles and 9 other trophies for PSG, as well as helping them to the Champions League final, which they lost to Bayern Munich. For most of his time at PSG, Mbappé played on the left of an attacking trio, pushing high against the defensive line and playing cutting inside, his focus mostly on just scoring goals. Mbappe's a trophy magnet, and that carried into the French national team too, when he helped them to a victory in the 2018 World Cup. He then took France to the final of the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, and despite scoring a hat-trick, they ended up losing on penalties to Messi and Argentina. The summer before that 2022 World Cup, he was also very close to joining Real Madrid, only for PSG to make him a contract offer he just couldn't refuse. But 2 years later, his inevitable move finally happened. On paper, Mbappe's start to life at Real doesn't look too bad. His first game was the UEFA Super Cup, where reigning Champions League winners Real faced Europa League winners Atalanta. Mbappé scored on his debut in a 2-0 win. First goal, first trophy, boom! 8 goals in his first 16 games in all competitions. Didn't look too shabby either. But he's coming off the back of 44 goals in a season for PSG though. There's just something about Mbappé this season that isn't striking the same kind of fear into defenders as he did for PSG. He's got the quality to hurt anyone and he'll always get goals. But the performance level has been worryingly way off his best. So what is the problem? For one thing, the league is a step up in quality and competitiveness over the French league. PSG are quickly forming an unshakable grip at the top in France. Real have to contend with the might of their arch rivals Barcelona as well as Atletico Madrid. There are good teams throughout the division who are tough to beat. We know Mbappe can destroy any team on his day, of course, but he could score a hat-trick on autopilot in Ligue 1. In La Liga, he's got to be on it more consistently. He's also had fitness concerns which have troubled him all summer following a dreadful Euros with France. But perhaps the biggest hurdle so far has been adapting to a new style of play and system. PSG was tailored around Mbappe, but he's now stepping into a team where Vinicius Jr.'s the main man, and he just so happens to primarily play in Mbappe's PSG position. Playing through the middle is not totally alien to Mbappe, having began at Monaco as a number 9, but it's certainly not a position he's most comfortable in. He has more tactical responsibility than when he was playing off the left for PSG. Sure, he ends up in the middle, but it's that start from the left wing and the ability to run inside that causes havoc for the fullbacks and centre halves. He also tends to thrive playing off a number 9 that can occupy defenders and create space or bring him into play. For France, Mbappe has often been effective playing off a proper number 9 like Olivier Giroud, or alongside attackers who like the ball at feet under close control. They draw defenders and play Mbappe in, whose game is largely about movement. As the 9 for Madrid, he could play one of several ways, playing with his back to goal, which isn't a strength, getting the ball into feet and dropping off to create space for others as more of a false 9, which isn't his game either. He's left with playing a traditional fox in the box, playing on the shoulder of the last defenders and making timed runs to find space in the box, but the game is behind him for the most part. At PSG, a lot of the game in the attacking third was often in front of Mbappe. Mbappe breaking the lines and getting space to run at defenders, or breaking the defensive line with deeper runs when he's already got momentum on the defender and there's less chance of being flagged for offside. Right now, his timing is just off. Mbappe just keeps getting caught offside. Against Barcelona, he had the worst possible first El Clasico. Barca ran out comfortable 4-0 winners, but for Mbappe, he was caught offside 8 times. It was embarrassing in the end. Mbappe may have scored a few goals already, and some screamers at that, but there's a sense that he's scoring against lesser sides, and a number of goals are coming from the penalty spot. Is he going to become a flat-track bully? He's looked ineffectual against better opposition. The problem with playing a square peg in a round hole is the run-on effect it can have on the team. Madrid as a whole aren't flowing as well as last season. They're off the pace set by a rejuvenated Barcelona side. Ironically, much of Barca's success is down to the fluidity of a front three, with one of the game's great number 9s, Robert Lewandowski, key to that success. Vinicius is propping the team up with his unstoppable consistency, but it's evident that there's not much chemistry between him and Mbappe. Vinicius is largely doing what Mbappe did for PSG. He's not going to be a creative force to put chances on a plate for Mbappe. Maybe Mbappe's troubles are systematic of Real being less effective as a unit. Toni Kroos left in the summer. His steadiness and vision in midfield is certainly missed, but trying to get the best out of Mbappe is having a negative impact on the team so far. Mbappe isn't bringing players into play because, again, it's not his style. Last season, Madrid often played Joselu through the middle, a far more conventional number 9 with physical presence and hold-up play. A perfect foil for someone like Jude Bellingham to run beyond and score from midfield. Joselu's not exactly a superstar, but he is a team player, effective in that 9 position. His work makes life easier for Vinicius, Rodrigo and Bellingham. While Joselu didn't play Real tended to opt for a diamond midfield behind Vinicius and Rodrigo. Plenty of movement and fluidity, and Bellingham played on the tip of the diamond, making those runs and almost becoming a centre forward. So it's no surprise that while Mbappe struggles to adjust in the middle of a front three, that Bellingham's performances have also swan dived. To blame Mbappe entirely would be harsh, but elite players should be adaptable. But right now, he's struggling in his position in Carlo Ancelotti's system. He's struggling to gel with many of his Galactico teammates as well. As many teams have found out in the past too, trying to play all your best players at once isn't always beneficial to the team as a whole. Mbappe's relationship with the national team and French football fans is also taking a hammering right now. The Euros were poor and Mbappe clearly wasn't fit, but leaving PSG for La Liga was always going to anger some fans. But there's been a real breakdown in his relationship with the national coach Didier Deschamps. Mbappe was left out of the national team squad on November the 7th and hasn't featured for Les Bleus since coming on as a sub against Belgium on September the 9th. Mbappe could also decide to temporarily retire from international football until the situation changes or until a change of management. The message is clear though. Mbappe isn't bigger than France, and his recent form for them could also suggest a more simple reason why he's struggling at Madrid. Is this just a temporary blip? Will Mbappe find his mojo again for Real Madrid? Unless he's able to fit to the system, or Ancelotti can find a better way to utilise Mbappe, this could turn out to be an expensive mistake. A number of clubs in the Premier League would take Mbappe in a heartbeat, but he might find that PSG is a closed door to him right now. Tell us how you'd fixed Mbappe at Madrid. Drop us a comment, hit the like button, and be sure to subscribe.